Hey everyone, Jeremy Knauff here with Spartan Media, and today I want to talk about the importance of getting out there in the media. Now this is an area that a lot of people are really bad at, and once they get out there, they tend not to handle it well. But it is a critical component of business. So I want to talk a little bit about that, how to do it, why it matters, and how to do it right, more importantly. So let's talk a little bit first about why this matters. Now, whether we're talking about your local news, a trade publication, all the way up to national like CNN or Fox or MSNBC or whoever you're able to get in front of. This is something that's critical for business because it builds authority. It's not you up there talking about your business, it's you up there sharing your knowledge and expertise and being cited as the expert. And when you do that, it's elevating you to a different platform, to a different position, and it helps to build your credibility, which makes it a lot easier to close sales, makes it a lot easier to get other exposure. So this is something that is really an essential component of business today. Now, where most people get this wrong is, first of all, they don't try. They're afraid of how they might look or how people might perceive them. You get something called imposter syndrome, where you could be awesome at what you do, but the idea of getting in front of a crowd or getting on stage or getting on television, whatever the case may be, and talking about this particular topic, whatever your expertise is in, that makes a lot of people scared. They're worried about, well, maybe I don't know enough, or maybe these other people know more than me and they'll think that I'm stupid or whatever. The first thing you have to realize is if you're given that opportunity, it's probably because you do know what you're talking about. So don't worry too much about that. If you have the skills to do your job, then you have the skills to share your knowledge with other people who obviously are far less experienced and knowledgeable in that topic than you are. So don't worry too much about that. Another thing I want to touch on that aspect of it is you probably will suck at it at first, all right? Until you get out there and you do it a bunch of times and something that you're comfortable and familiar with, you're not going to be happy with how you're performing out there. And the only way to fix that is to actually get out there and do it. So keep that in mind. Now let's talk a little bit about where most people go wrong. All right, so when they reach out to a producer or an editor, journalist, whatever the case is, common problem I see is they'll reach out and they'll say, hey, I'm an expert at this thing and I'm the best and we have this awesome product and you should have us on your show or write about us in your article or whatever the case is. And that doesn't matter to a journalist, to a producer, to an editor, whoever. These people care about one thing, and that is communicating with their audience in a way that conveys value, in a way that shares value with their audience. So you have to, when you approach an editor or a producer or whoever is responsible for creating this content that you want to be a part of, what you have to do is you have to get out there and you have to first think about their audience. What matters to their audience? All right? What do they care about? Next, you need to think about the publication. What matters to the publication? The last thing you think about is what matters to you. All right? And when you approach it in that order, you'll have a far better response when you go out and you pitch your story idea. Another thing you want to look at is look at a way to tie something newsworthy into what you're doing. So for example, earlier this morning, we were out at a client's location. They were being interviewed by a local news organization for a segment that was about something that's hot in the news right now. And they were able to tie in what that client did and what their value was to that particular story. And that's how we made it make sense for the producer, for the anchor, for the news channel, and for the client. So they had an awesome story. It all tied all of these pieces together, and the client was able to get in here and they were able to tell their story about who they are, what they do, and what their value is, while solving the needs for the audience of that particular news channel. So that's what you need to keep in mind when you're out here. Find value that makes sense for the audience and pitch that to the editors, pitch that to the producers, and that's what's going to get your story out there. That's what's going to get you cited as the expert, not taking a self-centered approach like I see most people do. So give that a shot. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. I'll try to answer as many of them as I can. And I'd appreciate it if you guys could share the video if you found it valuable, and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Thanks, everyone.